it's Deb here, and I have got a process video making this a 12 by 12 layout using the November Kitaholic Kits. So lots of fussy cutting, distress oxide in the background along with some embossing paste, and I actually use the thickers to put some dots on my page too, because I don't know why they put so many full stops in that thickers pack, but thought I'd use them to tie in a bit more gold. Just got my grandfather's face covered for privacy reasons, but yeah, stay tuned and I will show you how I made this layout. Okay, so I've sped up this first part of the video, and all I'm doing is adding some distress oxide to my background using the packaging technique. So just swiping a bit of the ink pad on some packaging, giving it a spritz of water and smushing it onto my background. Just using American Crafts cardstock. I didn't gesso it. I just put it straight onto the cardstock. It did warp a little bit, not too badly, so I added, now what was it? I'll have to put it up on the screen what colours I used. I did mix a bit of the yellow, what was that? Colour Blast ink we got last month with some of the pink to make that coral colour. And now I've just got some embossing paste and a stencil, and I'm going to put some texture on my background. Now this stencil is a heart stencil, and it's a distressed heart stencil, so you're not going to get perfect hearts with it, and I love it. And I love using the embossing paste because it's very light and it doesn't take too long to dry. Now, because I've got all that mixed media on the background, I am going to use wet glue to stick all of my things down so they stay stuck down. And I'm just going to build some floral clusters on each side of my photo. I'm going to bump some of the florals up with some foam, just some fun foam I got from Spotlight. So I've got all different layers of flowers, and they're not all sitting flat on my background. Now most of these florals I did fussy cut from the pattern paper, and I did grab a few from the ephemera pack, and I even fussy cut a lot of the little flowers from the pattern paper because I do want to extend the florals out just a tiny bit by placing those tiny little flowers there, and I'm just cutting out the center of that leaf that I fussy cut from the paper as well. Just getting rid of that centerpiece, and I'm just going to fuss about with placement. So after I got all that placed and I have glued most of it down, I did notice some of the colour disappeared under all them layers, so I did want to bring in some more colour to the bottom there, and I'm just going to mix up the same distress oxides that I used before and just extend the colour down a bit, and I do end up going back to the top and doing that a bit later on. I do bring in the stencil and add a bit more of the heart stencil with the embossing paste too to the bottom, because I lost quite a bit of that under my layers, and I just let it dry, and I'm just going to go back and fiddle with the last little bits and pieces of where I want things to go. So I'm liking how this is looking, and but I felt that it was a little bit too airy, so I am going to chop off a bit off the top and the bottom of the white cardstock. Just use a pair of scissors. I'm not going to be neat about it. I don't mind that it's all uneven or not straight. That's the look I was going for. And then I cut a bit of pattern paper, these two pattern papers here, a bit of the corally kind of peach color and the blue, and I'm just going to lay them as borders on the top and the bottom of my layout. I have scrapbooked this photo before too, back in September, and I wasn't really happy with the way the layout turned out. I've kept it, I won't throw it away. I have got 4 kids, so I'm sure that or even if just the 2 girls want them, there's one each for them, I guess. So yeah, I don't mind scrapping the same photo twice, and I really like how this one came together. So just I'm going to put these 2 bits of pattern paper at the top and the bottom. I do grab another piece of pattern paper just to make sure that I got the 12-inch size, and then what do I do? It took me a bit of time to get these on the way I wanted, and I do a bit of stitching which will be coming up soon. Now before I get my sewing machine out and stitch, I did want to pop a few things in here so I could stitch them in, and one of them was this tab. It was off the chipboard sheet, and I just peeled some of the chipboard layers off so it wasn't as thick, and I did want this little die cut at the bottom, so I'm just going to cut it off and kind of run it in line with the white cardstock there, and then grab my sewing machine out and just stitch one continuous line across where the white, right on the edge of the white cardstock there on the borders there. I have a lot of paper on my layout, so I wanted to bring in a different texture, and I just grabbed some sewing thread. It's just cheap sewing thread I got from Aldi. I'm going to make a ball of it to go under this flare, and I do add a couple of other balls of the thread around under the florals on my layout too. this is where I extend the colour to the top of my layout. So I find if you put the colour down and just let it sit for a few seconds and then dab it up, you get that nice kind of pastel look on your background. So, and adding that Colour Blast liquid ink with my Distress Oxides didn't seem to affect it at all. It mixed quite well, and I love the colour I got with it on my background. So just getting my title ready, and I've just got a piece of greaseproof paper that you can buy from Coles or anywhere. Helps me position where I'm going to put my title, and I can move it about if I'm not sure of the placement of where I want it. I do bring in some chipboard hearts just to add some more hearts to the layout. You can always use more hearts and a little bit of different texture. What else do I do? Oh, I cut out a few more little flowers. I wanted a few more of those really tiny little flowers from the pattern paper to extend the florals out. And I'm going to add another tab up to the top where I've sewn in that heart one, and I'm just going to pop the date on there. And I did use a grey ink. I didn't want to use black on this layout. I'm just going to pop that up there with the other one just to add a little bit of interest to the top, because I've got the flare in that little journaling spot at the bottom, and just sticking things down now. So I'm adding my title now, and it is the gold thickers we got in the kits, and I wanted to bring some more gold in, so I did pull my Heidi Swap Colour Shine in gold out, and I'm going to splatter to the top and the bottom of the layout above the that middle section, and I'm going to dab it up. I don't want it to sit there too long. I let it sit there for a few seconds, and I'm just going to go in and dab it up. And I felt like it needed a bit more gold, and I noticed on the thicker sheet that there was a lot of full stops and I thought, well, I could use them in place of enamel dots or rhinestones, and I really love how it turned out. So just dotting them around. I don't know if I'm going to have to go in with a bit of glue, because some of them did come up. I don't know whether it's the texture on the background, so I might have to go in and glue them down with something a bit more permanent. So just added my journaling here, and that is pretty much it, guys. I'm going to slow the footage down and let you have a look, and then I will have some stills at the end. I just love that background, the softness of those oxides and that stencil with the embossing paste. So anyway, that is my first project using the November Kitaholic Kits. Don't forget to go check them out. All the links will be below, and don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.